All right, let's try this again. I don't know what's going on with it. I had to reset the computer. So, big boy, you are first. Good man. Quick on that street. Double light. Um, yeah. Oh, Uncle Kathy, like a rocket. Okay. The wrench, Joe K, take three. Yeah. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on with it. Das Boot, Das Reboot. Yeah, Andy, let's go. Zero, oi, oi, oi. All right, so yeah, I said all you guys are coming back in. Moparel, what's going on, man? All right, so here we go. So where were we? I didn't even know what we were talking about. Well, what should we talk about? Time to roll a fatty and watch. That's probably a good thing to do, man. Probably a good thing to do. See, I myself don't do any drugs at all, but I encourage other people to. You can't believe you have to pay to watch this. Cat, it's free. It's free. Kathy, you should send us super chats. Cat, I mean, you're there, right? Send super chat. Um, V8 S10 Garage, did you ever get the opportunity to work with Shirley Mulvaney? We match raced her probably half a dozen times. Anytime she would get booked into the Northeast area, Englishtown, Atco, Epping, New Hampshire, any of those places, they would bring us in to match race her because we were a cheap local car. So yeah, we raced her a bunch of times. Let's see. Wait, you're paying for this? No, it's free for you, Zero. Louis Kadav, I almost convinced myself I need a Miata. I mean, honestly, I tell you what, you know what happened? I was really into the Miata thing. I was like, okay, this Miata is cool. And then I got back into bikes. And as soon as I threw a leg back over a bike after like 10 years, I was like, I got no time for Miatas. So that was it. You know, it was like done. Let's see. Dino Mello, where's Al? Dallas is under the weather today. He could not make it. Paul covers all. So you guys at Epping back then. We were in Epping a lot. It was at the time it was the Twilight Zone top fueler. Which on the Miata Winky had a great sound. Well, that motor's still with us. I got plans for that motor. What's going on here, Tim Shamblin? You need your password for super chat. You should send me $1,000 super chat. Honestly, Kat. I mean, you know. Used to sit up on the hill to watch Best Seats in the House. Tim Shamlin, you're new. Well, welcome, my brother. Charles Brown, Tony, thanks for the break videos. Could save a life. I hope so. I mean, I hope people find the information useful. It's common stuff. It's not, you know, there's nothing profound or anything like that. It's all very common, you know, knowledge, but not if you're new. I kept seeing that comment over and over again. Everybody knows this shit. Why do you bother? Because it's people who are new to this stuff that don't know the stuff, that have never heard these things, you know. So Tim Shamel has been a mechanic for 44 years. Yeah, there's a bunch of us old timers who are seasoned, and yeah, it's 44 years for me too. 44, 45 years. I'm 60. I started when I was 15. Uncle Cat is saying, so they had a car show tonight at the Red Bicycle. Chevy's the Red Bicycle. It's like a cafe place. It's like literally in my backyard, like quite literally in my backyard. You just go through the fence, through the berm, and then you're in the. So they had a car show tonight. Let's see. Bobby Z, your thoughts on cast iron versus Moly rings? Moly rings do not make good long-term street rings. Cast rings, if Moly ring is great for a limited use, right? If you're doing like a muscle car type engine, a street and strip thing, right? That type of deal, where it's limited use, then Molly is awesome. But Molly is not good for like the long haul, right? Um, it's too it doesn't hold up well. It doesn't hold up well. And like during the course of like normal stop and go type of thing, like the conditions that a daily driver gets is subjected to, Molly doesn't hold up. What you end up with then is once the Molly facing is gone, you end up with a cast ring and a super smooth bore, and they don't want to seal. Let's see. Bobby Z 1964. Thank you. Seems like I read it somewhere years ago. Maybe you wrote it. Bobby Z. Let me see what you're talking about. Oh, okay. Okay. That was a ring question. Okay. Let's see. Reboot 3. Can I send you some M&Ms? Gabriel DeMarco. Hi, Tony. Would you do a video on slicks? Big tires, small tire, DOT approved, compounds, etc. We have in the past. We have. I don't want to keep doing the same things over and over again. The original Perfect Circle rings were great. Yeah, I like Hastings. There's like I've always had good luck with Hastings rings. They're dirt cheap. They have everything, right? It's like Hastings is just like I can't explain to you. It's like Hastings to me is like the wholesome, it's like the wholesome ring company. Even if they weren't that good, I would still buy them anyway because it's like Hastings rings. They're so I don't know. I can't. Anytime I go to Golden Engine and I get the Hastings rings, I feel warm and fuzzy inside. You know what I mean? Like fresh baked blueberry muffins or chocolate chip cookies. Hastings rings. Does that make any sense? Jason Fisher, would you ever do a live with the Economic Ninja? I told Kathy just today that I want to do a collaboration with the Economic Ninja. I hope he pops in every once in a while. I hope he's with us. I would love to do a collaboration with him about quote precious metals. Because first I've been in precious metals for over 20 years, so I know the gold silver markets really well. But also the cars that we deal with is another form of precious metals. So I would love to get together with the Economic Ninja. If you're watching this, Ninja, get a hold of Uncle Kathy. Terrence, you watch the Ninja every day. So do I, and he puts out like 3 videos a day. Okay? He's great. He's great. He's great. Kathy's watching his video right now. Pay attention to me, Kathy. Pay attention to me. And I'm telling you, I want like $1,000 super chat. Send me like $1,000 super chat. I think the biggest we ever had was like 500. Remember one guy sent a $500 super chat? UTG, where would I find a 72 Mercury Montego GT? I would try Lake Mead. There's a good chance over the next couple of weeks or so that at least 1 or 2 72 Mercury Montego GTs are going to surface. Jason Rich, Tony's just the guy with a ponytail and hallucinations. Let's see. RIP Lake Mead, right? Have you guys been paying attention to this stuff at all? Have you guys been paying attention? There's something going on there. I'm not going to say anything else here. We don't want to anger our reptilian overlords, so I don't want to say anything else. But there's something going on there. There's a guy named what's his channel? Vegas D-Tech, right? Is that yes? There's a channel called Vegas D-Tech, and he's been doing these updates on Lake Mead like every day, every couple of days or whatever. And I've been watching him and following this whole Lake Mead thing. That's crazy, guys. if you have anything to do, if you're in an area that's affected by, like, what's going on with Lake Mead, get out of there now. Seriously, get out of, that thing is dropping like a couple of feet a week. Get out of there. John Wilburn, if you send yourself $1,000 super chat, aren't you just paying Google 300? Yeah, but isn't it worth the 300 just to see the 1,000 pop up? Key Nelson, Uncle Tommy, what was the first motor you ever messed with? For me, it was a Cox 2-cycle airplane engine. I'm going to say it was a Briggs and Stratton, but I don't remember the details, man. I had built a wooden. So remember, New York City, right? You don't have the same assets that you have every place else. And I built a wooden go-kart. It was like a gravity cart. I guess I was about 6 or 7 years old, 7, 8 years old, and we had a big hill, Armstrong Hill, that we used to race these gravity carts down. And the big thing was to have carriage wheels and all this other stuff. And I got the first engine I messed with. This is like so big and fuzzy and everything else. I wanted to put a lawnmower engine on the bike, and I wasn't able to do it for whatever reason. It was like way beyond my pay grade. I had no tools, I had no help, I had no nothing. But I believe that Briggs and Stratton was the first engine that I ever took the head off and rotated it, watched the piston go up and down, the valves open and close. I don't know if that counts as one that you messed with, but I remember that. No, it's more than snowpack milk because everything else has got water. There's no shortage of water anyplace else. And Lake Havasu, which is downstream from Lake Mead and Lake Powell, it's overflowing. So go explain that one. Let's see. Havasu dried up once, but it's not dry now. Joe K. Tony, are you good with memory, or do you have to keep a constant written to-do list on all project cards, what to buy, what to do, etc.? No, man, neither. I have a terrible memory. I have an absolutely horrible memory, and I'm not, because of my ADD, autism, I'm not able to do to-do lists, and so I just literally just consistently fly by the seat of my pants. It's a terrible way to do things. I end up making more work for myself. Things take longer than they're supposed to. There's more confusion. There's more waste. But it's just me. I can only run on the systems that I'm wired to run on. See, Lake Mead did the same in the 30s. Apparently, Lake Mead was filled in the 30s. There was no Lake Mead before the 30s. John M. Sin City Outdoors is good for Lake Mead videos. I agree. Yeah, I saw a couple of the Sin City Outdoor videos. Yep. Yeah, they do a good job too. Let's see. Matt Guardado. Oh, it's Matt Canick. Great channel, great content on the brakes, keeping the unknowing safe. They got to learn sometime, right? Danny Boyd actually made lists when I was fixing up my house. Oh, I love I can't make lists. I have Kathy. Kathy makes lists for me, and even she's not good at it. So, Barrel's Garage, UTG. That comment you left on coming up on a pipe was totally great. I just read it this morning and brought back a lot of memories as well. Oh yeah, we were talking about that. I know what you're talking about. Steve Collison. Yeah. Screaming Seaman, UT, I live in Utah and the states along the Colorado River is an allotment of how much they can use, and California always uses their amount up and begs Utah for energy and water. I'm aware of all that. Liam Negan, just found your channel helpful as hell. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Let's see. Where's Dallas? Dallas is a little under the weather today, so he couldn't make it. So I'm flying by the seat of my pants. Lists were invented in, yeah, Ari, it's a Canadian thing. It's a Canadian, it's foreigners make lists. Van Little, now I'm worried about the brakes on Bottle Rocket. No, wait, Bottle Rocket's not quite that light. It's light, but not that light. Will's Garage, Tony, how was meeting Derek from Verse? We have never met. We talked on the phone several times, but we have never actually met. Zoe Speed Shop, thank you for the $2 super chat. Fred Gomez, Tony, have you ever been to Bonneville? I have not. I have not. Let's see. Okay, Raining Slant 6. Tony, what's on there to be asking about beefing 3-speed manual, 200 horsepower, 170 Hyperpack 60 Valiant? What about the A903 being non-synchro first? Where do I think this? Where I think the synchro first 3-speed was an A745. No, the A903 and the 745 are both non-synchro first gear transmissions, and there are at 200 horsepower. I would not trust them. That's well, okay, wait, no, the 745, yeah, at 200 horsepower you're okay. But your better choice is the A230. That's the 3-speed transmission that they introduced in 1970. That's one of the put behind 3D3s and 340s. The A745 that was actually used behind 3D3s, but it's not a really beefy transmission. I would not, for performance use, I wouldn't trust it. If you've ever been inside one of those transmissions, you'll know what I'm talking about. They're just, you can see it's like, I'm gonna break, you know. Will Grudge, ever raced at Detroit Dragway? No, I did not. Charlotte Holmes, Tony, did you see why he said he put the car in park before the crash? Yes, and I addressed it in yesterday's video. We did talked all about that shifter yesterday. Been to Epping, New Hampshire, many times. Been to Epping, New Hampshire. We used to race there all the time. Chris Greenaway, UTG update on the Roadrunner Revival. What are we digging into the 73? It's not yet, man. I'm behind with all of the other stuff. So no, the Roadrunner is pushed off a little bit. Let's see. I don't know how durable they are, but the Dakota 5-speed will bolt right up to the LA engine. Yes, that's always an option. John M., do you need to add lead to gas for our stock classic engines without hardened valve seats? Yes and no. Yes and no. Some engines don't have any problem with the exhaust valves sinking. Other engines do. I can't tell you which one. I personally don't add any lead substitutes, but I don't. The engines that I deal with are not prone to sunk valves. So I think what you need to do is you need to go on a forum dedicated or group, Facebook group, whatever, dedicated to people who run your particular engine body combination, whatever, and ask them. Because I'm telling you, some engines just don't need it. You'll never have a problem with them. And if it was built after, let's say, 1971, it's already got hardened seats. 1970, 71, they already put the hardened seats in there because they knew this. So the cars that started building in 70 and 71, they knew the catalytic converter and unleaded gas was coming in 75, and so they started equipping cars from that point forward. Let's see. Van Little, is it time to get out of the big cities? Absolutely. And do the Victory Garden thing. Yeah, would not be a bad idea. It seriously would not be a bad idea. Do I remember Gulf valve top oil? Not offhand. I remember Gulf oil. I actually worked on a Gulf station when I was a kid. Douglas Self. Can I get a shout out for my son Scott, who's been working on that 66 Plymouth Fury for 4 years running? He's been in the hospital seriously ill. Oh my God. What Doug, what's wrong with him? And yeah, absolutely a shout out to Scott. What is wrong with Scott? Pancreatitis. Oh, dude, I mean, I don't know anything about that, but yeah, seriously, our thoughts collectively are all with your son there. What can Doug? So seriously, collectively, what can we do aside from praying and thoughts and everything else? What can be done to make this a better time for him or you? All right, I'm gonna wait for him to get. I'm gonna wait for him to get back in there. Michael Roberts, I just picked up a big block Chevy 454 a couple of weeks ago, thinking about a roller cam conversion. Any other mods you can think of? Roller cam conversion is a good idea. Good. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Just pray for him at the moment. I don't know how to get his project back on track. Will depend on how well he recovers. Doug, I mean, please keep us informed, keep us up to date on how he's doing, and let us know what we can do to help. I mean, we have a really tight community here. We have a bunch of really good guys here. So, don't be shy. You know what I'm saying? Don't be shy. If you guys need things or whatever, just throw it out there, and either we can help or somebody in the audience can help or whatever. But our thoughts are with you guys. Tell you what, when he's awake enough, like hopefully before your Sunday show, I'll run the show for him. Keep us posted on how he's doing. Let's see. The Screaming Seaman is saying, does the guy need help with his medical bills? I'm sure some of us can help if need be. Yeah, this is what I'm saying, Doug. It's like if you've got a GoFundMe or you've got anything like that, you know what I'm saying? We're here. That's the whole point of community. Okay. Mr. Swinger, I saw a 3-speed column shift with a Hurst shift ball once, a white one. That was common. Have you ever seen one with a T handle on it? Because my buddy had a Catalina. It was a 3D9 2-barrel Catalina, like a 63, 64, and he had a T handle, a Hurst T handle screwed onto the column shifter. Why do I remember that? This is like I was like 15 or 16 years old. Let's see. The Screaming Seaman UT, I'm planning on buying a compound out in the middle of nowhere. I'd rather be away from everywhere. I honestly, right? I like sometimes I get that fleeting thought every once in a while. I was like, okay, you know what? It's time for the cabin in the woods, right? let's grab the dogs and let's head to the cabin in the woods. But I think there are certain areas, certain regions that are going to be basically immune from everything that's going on right now, or at least not have the kind of issues that other places are going to have. And I think where we are in Middle Tennessee, I think we're safe. I don't think we'll have any problems here at all. But again, you gotta think of where you are. You know what I mean? You have to know your neighborhood, the lay of your land, the type of people that are there, the type of atmosphere. You need to know this stuff. And if it looks like it may get hairy, this is the time to get out while you can. John M., what Chrysler parts were into AMXs? Okay, that's a good question. So the first several years, they use a Borg-Warner automatic. They use a Muncie transmission, or they use all different manual transmissions. No, the early AMXs, I can't think of any Chrysler parts that went into those cars. It was mostly all Ford and General Motors stuff. They shared a Prestolite distributor, but it's not the same. You couldn't just bolt it into a Mopar. But they had a Prestolite dual point distributor that's got the same capital motor as a Mopar. And they in '72, I think they went to a Chrysler transmission, but with an AMC bolt pattern. Andrew Parry, love your work, Tony. Cheers. Thank you, man. Unfinished project, just got in from a cruise, the 2003 Suzuki Volusia. Those are nice bikes, man. Those are very comfortable. You know what the most underrated of the metric cruisers are, and you know, okay, maybe they're not really, they're not in the same league as Evolution, not the same style, but the older the Suzuki Intruders, the 800 Intruder. I had one of those for a little while, a couple of weeks. That thing rocked. That was a fast-ass bike for what it was. You know, obviously it's not a sport bike, but I always thought that the Suzuki's, the V-twin Suzuki, is very underrated combination, underrated engine. Van Little, the old Suzuki two-strokes are very nice cruisers. Well, that's the Water Buffalo. That was the whole intention of the Water Buffalo, was to be, you know, a touring bike. The Water Buffalo was like the Goldwing before the Goldwing. Right, that was a 73 Ambassador 360 with a Chrysler. Yeah, up until 71, I think they used a Borg-Warner automatic. And then starting in 72 or possibly 73, they went to the Chrysler transmission. But it's a Chrysler transmission with the AMC bolt pattern on the back. Vince W., is the pizza business a good business? I guess depends on where you are. I mean, how are you going to compete with like Little Caesars? Or, you know, it depends on what's around you. How are you going to compete with Little Caesars, you know, or any of, you know, it's hard. It's high volume businesses, man. Screaming Seaman, UT, I think Suzuki's are like the Toyota of motorcycles. They build solid stuff and they have their own charms. I tell you what, I've got that GS 550 and I've been using it often as my go-to, as my commuter bike. And then last Sunday I took it for a nice 100-mile ride through the countryside over here, and it's very, very nice bike, very refined. I can't say enough about it, enough nice things about it. Piper's Burton, my 82 Yamaha XJ 750 Maxim is the Japanese Harley Sportster. I don't know if I no. If I had to pick a bike that was like the Japanese Harley Sportster, the Honda Shadow, the what the hell they call it? Oh God, I can't think of the name of it. But I like the early Viragos, the XV 750s, and the 920 was a goofy bike, but the Virago 750, 82, 83, 81, 82, 83, fantastic bikes, very American-like feel to them. Victor Meza, poverty keeps me in Japanese vehicles. Dennis Wilton, ever had any Czechoslovakian bikes? No, I have not. Key Nelson, I drove an early 70s Duster with a standard stick slant 6. I have one of those. I had a bench front seat with cutout for the shifter. Oh, had overdrive also. Is that rare? Okay, if you had the 4-speed overdrive, it was 1976 is the only year for that. and they didn't have a cutout in the front seat. They had a shifter that was bent to come around the front of the bench seat. Let's see. Hey, would you do me? Kawasaki KLR 650, best bike for the coming apocalypse. They're good. They're good. They're too new. I mean, if you really want to pick a perfect apocalypse motorcycle, I would say a Honda, like an XR250, a 70s, early 80s XR250 is like a perfect apocalypse bike. Kiwi, you had a 175 Jawa go-kart 45 years ago. Let's build another one. Let's do this. Digital sharecropper, you can put a pizza shop on every corner and there is enough business for them all. That's debatable. That's debatable. Van Little, what food-wise do you miss from New York? I only miss two things. So here there's no Jewish, right? But in New York, everything was Italian and Jewish. The only thing I miss from New York is pastrami and real knishes. That's it. Everything else I can get here in quantities. Just in my immediate area here, you can get I mean, as good Italian food as you get anywhere in the world. You get as good. We're in a foodie area. Awesome food, but no pastrami, no knishes. There's a little area in Belmead. There's like a Jewish neighborhood right outside of Nashville, and I guess you could probably get the stuff there, but it's just like that's what I miss from New York. Okay, let's see. Um, you love pastrami. Yeah, real pastrami. See, over here, okay, so they got Publix, then they got Boar's Head pastrami. It's not as good. And Boar's Head is usually excellent. Boar's Head has usually got the best of everything, but their pastrami, at least the pastrami that they sell here, isn't as good. It's not the same. Ethan, you two, have you heard of the traction glue shortage? Yeah, bro, I'm surprised it took so long to have a traction glue shortage, to be perfectly honest with you. Yeah, I mean, eventually, no prep. Everything's going to be no prep. Screaming Seaman, UT Nashville has a really good music scene and a great bar life. Screaming Seaman, when I shut the last coffee house, the grind, this was in I guess it was 2012, 2013. We were doing a lot of shows. So we started a booking deal called TFG Productions, and we used to do punk and metal shows all in the Nashville area. We got some amazing crowds. We did some innovative stuff too. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, I know. Believe me, I know all about it here. I know all about the scene here. Mr. Swinger, the Honda Elsinore. Yep. Wheelie King. The Honda XR has one flaw: center cam bearing integral to the head. Bearing is bored while the head and rocker box are mated, otherwise bomb-proof. I wasn't aware of that. Just Mopar Joe, Uncle Tony's Lunch. Have you heard of race cars running two PCV valves? What's your take on it? Have you tried it? The two PCV valve thing came from this, originated with the lower class stock eliminator guys. Now I don't know about other makes, but with the Mopars, it was the 273 two barrel, the V and W stock automatic cars. And they would run two PCV valves because they were limited to that one Stromberg, which was like 270, 280 CFM, whatever it was. So they ran a second PCV valve, but it also works as a crankcase evacuation deal. So yes, it is a common thing to do, or at least was a common thing to do. I haven't paid attention to stock eliminator cars in over 20 years, so I don't really know what's going on out there today. But the dual PCV valve was a trick that they were using on some of those cars. Very little. Is the Suzuki dirt bike a rotary valve? Mine, no, it's just is regular. 1987 Heritage, no degree marks on the balancer, just 0. Timing tape, maybe. You want to make sure it's timed properly. You can, I tell you what, here's the easiest way to do it. 1997 Heritage. And timing tape comes off, right? It never stays, right? Here's what you do, right? It's really easy. So just mark your damper, okay? So you know where your 0 is, right? So go exactly the other side, and there's 180, right? And then quarter that, and there's 90, and then half of that, and that's 45. And so now you should be able to make your measurements incrementally from the 0 to the 45. Don't stress it if you're off a hair, because it's a mark that you're going to use for your reference. So that's how I mark my own. I just half it and then quarter it and then half that, and that'll get you that zone from 0 to 45, and then you can figure out what your degrees are in between. It takes a few minutes, but it's no big deal. Derek drives Dodge. UT, do you recommend coating or oiling paper gaskets that join transfer case halves together? Why not? Oil is always good. Don't use anything else. That's the same type of paper gasket that they use, let's say, on a torque plate on the tail shaft. It's that black paper. Just oil. Just oil. Don't put any sealer on that. Just oil. And mostly the oil, honestly, mostly set it when you got to take it apart again, nothing sticks. That's the only reason you would coat anything like that. Charlotte Cole and Tony, pastrami is not Jewish, but is kosher. Listen, all I know is where I come from, the only place you get it is a Jewish deli, when I was in New York. So I just put two of them together. It could be from Afghanistan. It could be from Argentina. I don't know. All I know is when I wanted pastrami and a good knish, I had to go to a Jewish place. The wrench, he uses solvent on black paper. That's what I recommend. Well, that's what they recommend. What kind of solvent? Solvent is a broad term. I mean, ATF is a solvent. Romania. Parts wash solvent? Why would you do that? Dodge is also kosher. Let's see. Yes, or ATF oil is just as good. That's what the trend. Yeah, ATF oil. Usually when I'm doing a transmission, it's such a mess of ATF that it just the stuff is there anyway. So it all gets soaked in ATF anyway. Pastrami is smoked corned beef. No, it's not smoked corned beef. It's smoked brisket. Corned beef is a different thing that they do. Piker's Burton, the Dodge Brothers logo had a Star of David on it. Yes, but you know why? That was okay. So you have to go back to, and again, I have to be careful what I say here because you have to be careful what you say. But I mean, the history is history. Henry Ford was huge anti-Semite, right? He actually wrote a book called The International Jew, which was a rehashing of the protocols of the learned elders of Zion, right? So anyway, he got these going demonetized. So, and he actually had a good correspondence going back and forth with Hitler during this period of time. But anyway, going back to the Dodge brothers, when they had a problem with Ford, they used the star that later became the Pentastar as their symbol, and that was the up yours to Henry Ford. That's where that came from. Unsubscribed. This is for Ford advice. I'm not making this stuff up. It's in the history books. Just, you know. Screaming Sammy, UT Hitler had a sign painting of Henry Ford in his office. I believe it. I believe it. Okay. Yeah, it is well known. It's common history. Well, it's not common history. You have to dig a little to find it, but it's well known. Just Kathy saying, just some things you can't say in here. I know we can't anger our reptilian overlords at YouTube. I get that. Okay, so I'll let you guys can talk about all of that stuff in the comments, and I'm just gonna I'll stop here so that we don't run into trouble with YouTube. Piper's Burton, but the name pastrami doesn't actually relate to the cut of meat. It refers to the technique. I know. Pastrami is brisket. That's all. It's brisket. Joe Brennan, do you have any advice on adjusting the fast idle cam and the mechanical choke on an Autolite 4100? I'm drawing a blank. If I had one in front of me, I could do it. I'm drawing a blank. I can't visualize the linkages. Let's see. Brisket is pretty good if it's done right. If it's done right. That's the thing about brisket. It's like, you know, it looks good, but it's unless it's treated, you know what I mean? Like pastrami. It's brutal. Let's see. All right, pastrami is brisket that's been brined, corned beef, and then smoked. So pastrami is smoked corned beef, but it's not finished as because that's seasoned as corned beef. I mean, you could throw both of them. Like say, you could throw both of them. Let's say on a barbecue or a smoker, and you're smoking each of them, but it doesn't make it the same thing. You know, the finished product is different. The additional seasonings. The wrench. Tony, transmission shop says I'm blowing through the converter and making too much power. Ever hear of that? Yes. And if you're blowing through the converter, you're probably ballooning the converter. Uncle Tony, if you can jump in my Mopar roll call video for the No Name Nationals, John Wilburn can shoot it when he comes down in a few weeks. Can you help represent? Just Mopar Joe? Absolutely. But my friend, whatever you want me to do, I will do for you. Just Mopar Joe has got a great channel. I mean, I don't watch all the time, but I do binge watch when I can. And you've got a great deal going. You're a good guy. Matt G, would you suggest a Nova as an older muscle car? He's good. Yes, absolutely. Nova's fantastic. Nova is one of the best platforms that you can. One of the most affordable platforms that you could do if you go for an older type of muscle car. They have some weirdnesses. Like when you get into the 70s cars, the rear suspension, that isolator pad, like that floating rear. That's what I'm looking for. The perch. That's troublesome. That's a pain in the ass. But I mean, for the most part, though, they're really good. If you remember back in the day, right? You could always tell if you would be behind a 70s Nova, any 70s Nova, because they would go down the road sideways. They always used to go down the road sideways because that rear end, that isolated um, uh, perch mount that they had would shift because there was just that one little pin there. So every time you step on the brakes, that pin gets like it wants to shear both ways, and eventually it lets go, and the rear end housing shifts. So those Novas were known for going down the street sideways. Um, let's see. Okay, Zero's just put up the link to Just Mopar Joe. Okay. Um, Wheelie King, my dad always called that the clamshell shuffle. Yeah, right? Did anybody remember? And then, see, now that I'm saying it, now you guys remember it, right? Always going down the street sideways. It was only the Novas. It was the only car, and all of the like the Ventura, the old Omega, all of the Nova body cars would go down the street sideways. Time to talk. Tony, my buddy has a 63 Galaxies with 390 V8. Anything to avoid with them? Not offhand. Not offhand. Grab walk. Yeah, because the pin would like that shiver would wear off, wear itself down to nothing, and then the rear end housing would shift on the leaf springs, and so naturally then the car goes down the street sideways. Dakota, did that wear the tires out all weirdly? No, no. Let's see. Pontiac Phoenix. Yeah, that was it. Right. No, but the Ventura wasn't before the Phoenix. Wasn't like the Phoenix was an upscale version of it. Wasn't the Ventura just the Pontiac version of the Nova? And then they made it all fancy with like opera windows and a padded half vinyl roof, and then that was where the Phoenix came from. FE had oiling problems on the bottom end. One of these days, I'm going to do a video on FE bottom ends because the FE does have the FE okay has the weirdest ongoing factory defect in the world of cars, right? All FEs share a common design flaw, right? That nobody ever talks about, but I'm going to do a video on. Okay. Joe Brown, the crank sits high above the oil pan. No, it's not going to do it. Bear Rose, the only one worse than the FE was the Y block. Two different things. Charlotte says he knows Ford FE is like the back of your hand. I know them too. You remember I'm a Mopar guy, right? But I've worked and built literally everything over the years. I know FE motors very well, very well. Amish Mafia, that's why they made the side oiler. You're right. Well, okay, wait. Well, it was two different things. They made the side, okay. They added the side oiler because the original oiling system on the car was to use that main galley that runs above the camshaft, and then the oil passages go behind the cam bearings, right? And then down to, which is like, what is that, right? Okay, but that's not the defect that I'm talking about. And that's why they did the side oiler. They did the side oiler to overcome that. But there's a second oiling system defect. that's common across the board on all FE motors. And it has to do with when they design the motor from the get-go, right? How things were arranged and spaced that caused this issue. And I'm going to do a video on it, but I'm not going to talk about it now. UTG, didn't you race Mustangs for 1 year? For 1 year, Mustangs were my life. The Ford 5-liter was my life. That was it, 1 year. I went right from that to nitro. I says at the end of that 1 year, I was screwing around with that Mustang. I was like, nope, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I want nitro. And so that's when I started as a helper and started working my way up the ranks with that. Dallas Berkman, what's your thoughts on a 65 Mustang 2.2 A-code 4-speed with 302, 60 over with COPM? I don't know what COPM, comp? Oh, comp. Cam, flat top, it's solid lifter, 495 intake, 490 exhaust, 225 duration, 232 at 50 with 112 duration 4-speed. It's a good driver. And that sounds like a nice driver. I think you got a nice happy combination. That's an engine that will do everything nicely. With the 4-speed, I probably would have wanted a little tighter on the lobe separation on that. You got 112. I think I with the stick, I think 110 would make it a little punchier. Matt Shaw, personal question. What's your favorite song or musical artist of all time? That's a question you got to ask me. Yeah, that's a question you got to ask me, like, because I'll have a different answer for you, like, all the time. I'm a big Zappa fan. I love Zappa stuff. Punk, 70s punk, the Sex Pistols. Like I said, I could just, if you ask me a question 10 times over the course of 10 days, I'm going to give you 15 different answers. So, let's see. Punk rules. Yeah, I like Deep Purple. I like Deep Purple. Zappa was the GOAT. Yeah. I like Ted Nugent too. The Ramones were like a local band to me. Kick out the jams, right? Zappa knew the truth. Zappa did know the truth. Zappa absolutely did know the truth. Tony, the soundtrack to the movie Repo Man from the 80s is great. I've never heard it. Let's see. Danny Boy, check out the 24-minute live version of Space Trucking from Copenhagen down. Yo, you know what, Danny? I'll tell you what. I swear to God, Danny Boy, let me tell you something. Because I want to go back and finish what I was. I was gapping rings before I said. I said, oh my God, I better get in there and go live, right? So I'm going to go back and finish what I was working on in there, and I am going to put on the 24-minute version of Space Trucking and crank it as high as I can. Thank you for that. The soundtrack is nothing but punk music. I mean, not all punk is good. I would have taken you for a Motorhead fan. They're okay. They're okay. $500 a ticket to see Rage Against the Machine. Yeah, Space Truckin', a 25-minute version of that. I mean, I like some new stuff too. You know, I mean, it's like, you know, but he asked me what my favorite was. Um, hey Tony, any tips on pulling a Slant 6 out of a 78 truck with a manual trans without pulling the transmission? Yeah, man, just you don't have to follow training. Just unbolt the bell housing the same way you would with an automatic. Pull the motor up. The the transmission, it pilots into the back of the crankshaft, but that's it. I mean, leave the clutch and everything stays on the flywheel. The transmission and the bell housing stay behind. Just pull it right out. So if I had to pick one song that like I always like just always puts a smile on my face, it would be Sally from Go-Go Bordello. That's probably if I had to pick one, right, just one song, right, like the last thing you're going to hear, it would be Sally. Charlotte Cole, Tony, did you eat biscuits and gravy in New York? We didn't have biscuits and gravy. That was no, that was strictly a Southern thing. And I came down here and I put on 20 pounds like the first month that I was here because I was binging on biscuits and gravy. Any place I could go to and every place had biscuits and gravy. I had biscuits and gravy, breakfast, lunch, and dinner for like 2 months. That's all I ate. Peaches and regalia is a great, yeah. Moving to Montana, so I'm going to be a dental floss tycoon. Fubar just put the link to our merch. Thank you. We're going to have our I Hate Cars shirt up in there soon. Like the next Uncle Kathy's, I think she's got it ready to go. I'm not sure, but the I Hate Cars, it's available. Um, Screaming Steven Carl's Jr. has good biscuits and gravy plus breakfast. Well, I wore it out. You know what I mean? I wore it out because now, like when I first got here, it was a novelty to me. It was like, oh my god, biscuits and gravy. Give me too much of this. But now it's like a novelty. I had biscuits and gravy. I think the last time, um, oh god, when was it? We went to this place we called Dr. Mengele's Kitchen, and they had biscuits and gravy there, so I had that. Uh, Tony, if a Ford build came across your way, what would really pique your interest? My buddy have a Marauder X100. Heck of a sick run. Those are nice cars. Chris McGlumphy. Hey, Uncle Tony, can you tell me what you use to make the braided fuel hoses on Bottle Rocket? I tried to find the original video you talked about that. Water hose. Water hose. Just go to any plumbing supply house. It's a steel braided, right? Same as the rubber, but it's got a Teflon inside. So you can't use you can't use AN type of fittings on them like you would like let's say with a conventional rubber hose. So you use a hose clamp. You just clamp them in place. Tape the end, right? Trim it to where you got to be. Tape the end, and then over the taped end, you put a hose clamp. The nice thing about using the water supply line is that it's impervious to anything. People talk about, oh, the ethanol or gasoline, ethanol eats away at the rubber, and it does over time, right? The Teflon steel line is impervious to anything and everything. You can pump battery acid through it forever, and it's fine. It will live forever. So that's such one, just water braided steel water supply line, and it's dirt cheap. As expensive as rubber, conventional is as cheap as the water supply line is. Um, let's see. South Jersey Jim. Uncle Tony, is the B Block 400 stroke to 470 is the best engine the world has ever seen. It's a damn good one. It's not as good as a big block Chevy, in general, generally speaking, right? But yes, it's a damn good motor. Damn good motor. Let's see. Auto Salvage Outlaws. That Mustang you had on here is the guy building that car. Kiwi. That's that. Talk to Kiwi. He's hanging around here. Kiwi's Classic Customs and Custom Classics is the name of his channel. So he's on here now. Kiwi. Auto Salvage Outlaws wants to know what you're doing with that car. Charlotte Quillen. I'm not gonna mention either of those. Okay, Charlotte. So yeah, but yes, I am. Okay, all of those things. I am very familiar with all of that. So let's just leave it at that. Go Garage, thank you for the super chat. Just got a deal on an LT1 6.2 for my 67 Camaro. Any advice? I do not have good advice for you, but I know that somebody watching this in here right now is very knowledgeable about what you've got going on there, and they can hit you up on it. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, Charlotte, there are certain keywords that you can't say and shouldn't even really be typed in, because what it does is it leads to a shadow ban. Chris Greenaway, Tony, when's the last time you ate cream chipped beef on toast since you're in I wouldn't run that over with my car, bro. Joe Brennan, early 80s Delta 88s are the greatest cars ever made. Changed my mind. I cannot change your mind. It's hard for me to argue with that. Honestly, it's hard for me to argue with that. They are like one of the greatest cars ever made. Let's see. I gotta roll a cigarette, guys. Screaming Team, you see any plans to go back to the MPD car collection to do videos about the cars that massive collection? Probably not. Probably not. Not that I didn't enjoy it. I had a great time there, but it's a 10-hour ride, and I just Java J 1982 307 Olds is kind of turd. Well, what are you using it for? What are you using it for? See what I'm saying? Bill McKay's good. Thank you for the super chat. For just a fun, reliable driver car, would there be a noticeable difference between a 318 and the 360? Honestly, no. Honestly, no. The 360, now I'm not saying that the 360 is not a good motor. The 360 is a good motor. But I tell you what, bro, if you go back to back, stock 318, stock 360, you would be hard pressed to tell the difference. You would be hard pressed to tell the difference. Conrad Francis, hey, Mr. Tony, congrats on almost 250,000 subs. Thank you. Right? Who thought it was going to go this far? Peter Kovacs, if you could bring back one car from automotive history, what would it be? This is pretty easy, right? The original VW Beetle. If I could bring back one car from history and say, okay, this is a car that I want to introduce the world to because it's a good car, it's a practical car, it's a friendly car, it's a usable car, it's a fun car, it's all of these different things, right? Something that you can repair and bond with and have fun with. It would be first generation Beetles. Let's see. Wheelie King, I love the way the Beetle is engineered. Genius. Yes, they were fantastic. Yeah, Mexican Spec, you have a lot of Beetles still running around. Charlotte, you ask all kinds of questions, man. Franco, what's going on, Franco? He's in the house. My compatriot Northeast Nitro guy. Let's see. Max, what do you think about a 1974 Nova? Just bought one for $3,000, 100% roached out top to bottom. 3,000 is a lot for a completely roached 74 Nova, but it's a good foundation. It's got good bones, man. You know, it's hard to go wrong with that. Good luck with it. Tony, I was Northeast and I went nationwide. Well, I tried to go nationwide and got my ass handed to me. But yeah. So, does anybody disagree with the VW Beetle? What are the arguments? Okay, so you're going to bring back one car from history. You're going to bring one car from history. Does anybody disagree that the VW Beetle would be like the best choice? VWs. I wasn't crazy about them in the day. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't crazy about them in the day, but hindsight, you know, you have to look at everything from back then through the lens of what we know today. You know what I'm saying? Conrad, for instance, I'd bring back mini mid-sized pickups like the Dakota or S10. Oh, I agree. Those, if anybody made a legit mini pickup, right, I would probably have one. Nobody makes it. Like first gen S10s and those old Toyotas, yeah, or the Nissans, the mini pickups were awesome. Why nobody builds those, I have no idea. Chevy Love, yeah. Well, the Chevy Love was a Toyota, wasn't it? Yep. Mazda had good ones. All of those first generation mini pickups were awesome. Gold Coast Auction, is a rotted car frame the kiss of death or worth fixing? It depends on the car, man. It depends on the car. We've gotten to the point now that really almost anything from the golden era, so anything from let's say the 1950s through 1980s, a rotted frame is no longer the kiss of death. Those cars are worth fixing. They're worth keeping alive. Big Mike's Hoopty Barn is in the house. Go Garage. How about the 1973 Ford Falcon XB GT? See, we didn't have those here. UT, what do you think of the old air-cooled Porsche 911s? I'm not a Porsche guy. I'm not a Porsche guy. I've driven those. I've worked on them, but I'm just not a Porsche guy. I liked the Beetle because it was so humble, right? And the Carmen Ghia, I love the Carmen Ghia because it was so beautiful. The Carmen Ghia is one of the most beautiful cars ever built. If you ever really look at the lines on one of those, you ever really study one of those cars, they are just beautiful, right? But I like the Bug because it was so humble. But you see what I'm saying? But the sports versions of them, you know, like the Porsches, no. Plymouth Cricket, good at junk. Ever have one? They were junk. That was an English. That was a lot of people. A lot of people confused the Plymouth Cricket with the Dodge Colt, but the Plymouth Cricket was a British import, and they were junk. And they were junk. On the flip side, the Dodge Colts were Mitsubishis, and those are fantastic. Jason Ciccaroni. Hey, Tony, there's a guy named me selling a 63 Dodge Dart 4-door 225/6. Haven't seen the car in person, but was thinking of possibly building with kids for a first car. Good choice. Says runs and drives 2,500. Yeah, hey, listen, if it runs and drives 2,500 bucks, it doesn't have giant, huge rot holes or busted out windows, and it's got most of the interior still in place, not bad. That's a good price for a run and driving car. Carmen Ghias are beautiful, but a pain in the ass to do body work on. Maybe that's what makes them beautiful. Jacob Marshall, what's your favorite C-body Mopar? Any chance one might hit the channel? See, that's one of those questions. Like if you ask me today or you ask me now and then you ask me in an hour, I'll have a different answer for you because I love them all. If I had to, I like the fuselage Furies, you know, 69 to 73, 72, 73. I like the Polaris from that era too. The fuselage Furies are probably my, I mean, okay, so you go back, if you want to talk about 300s, letter cars, there's just so many. See, that's what I'm saying. I can't answer that question. I can't answer that question because I'll have a different answer for you every 5 minutes. Mr. Swinger, Plymouth Arrow beat the balls off on when I was a kid. Mitsubishi, the Arrow was the same mechanicals as the Colt, as the rear-wheel drive Colt. Because by that point, okay, so by 76 or 77, the Colt went to front-wheel drive, and they brought the Arrow out. And the Arrow has all of the mechanicals of a rear-wheel drive Colt, and the Plymouth Arrow, right? The best funny car looking body, best looking funny car body in all of history. The Plymouth Arrow was the perfect funny car. Look at like Prudhomme's car, right? The Army car from 76, 77, 78. Gorgeous, gorgeous cars. The most beautiful funny car I've ever seen was Johnny Loper's Little Haas. It was and he ran this car. They ran this car 78, 79, maybe to 80, right? It was a black Plymouth Arrow with gold leaf lettering and all, very simple, understated, but man, it was just tits. It was just amazing. That car was just perfect from every angle. D. Scaglione, when you first learned of torsion bars, weren't you a little weirded out how they worked? No, they were natural to me. They were just normal to me. Like I learned about torsion bars at the same time I learned about coil springs. You know, and that was that era, like where you're 12, 13, 14 years old, and now you're curious about everything with cars. You know what I mean? And I was always drawn to Chrysler products. So, you know, so 12, 13, 14 years old, and you're starting to learn about the systems and how, you know, leaf springs and so around that age when I was like deep into the learning process, absorbing knowledge, the torsion bars were just a normal thing. Me and my Arrow, yep. taking the high road. That's it. Me and my arrow taking the high road. Mithy Dwana, love you, UT. I love you too back, man. Tony, my favorite arrow was the Condit brothers. Yeah, they were all beautiful. They were all beautiful. Kay Nelson, hey Tony, what's your favorite oddball car? Had a couple of Opals back in the early 80s. I love those. And they were fun to drive, easy to work on. Yeah, oh no, they're beautiful. Yeah, I'm with you on those. I love the headlights on those, right? The lever, yeah, how do you beat that? Unless you're talking about cadets and all. But let's see. UT, do you give financial advice? Not officially. Should I invest in a front wheel drive Torino? All the Torinos were rear wheel drive, man. Same front wheel drive car that Jay converted to rear wheel drive. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Oh, Toronado. As an investment, yeah. They're distinctive enough. They're unorthodox, but they're distinctive enough that I could see that being a good investment. Parts must be a little sketchy with that. Like, what do you like? How difficult is it to source out like transmission parts or like CV joints? For those things. I don't know. I don't know. Gold Coast Auction, would you consider making a Fantasy Island F-body wagon convertible for your channel? No, but I tell you what, I do have a kind of an idea to take one of the cars that are currently in my possession and do a roadster out of it. Just cut the roof and make it waterproof inside. So I don't know. Oh yeah, that's right. DD Speed Shop they picked up an Opel GT. I didn't see the whole video. I saw just the bit of it. Or will it fold? No, I'm seriously. I have a car that I'm halfway thinking about just doing a roadster out of. I don't want to bother you. Doing a legitimate convertible is just way too much work for something that you just want to have fun. Just top, no top cruising. And do it like with boat interior, waterproof rug and seats and everything else. And something I'm just half thinking about. I may do it. I don't know. Mint Made Muscle. I'm very interested to see how many cars from today are still around in 30 to 40 years. None of them. None of them. You're not going to see them in 20 years. None of them. They're not survivable. Bear Rose Garage. Back in the 80s, one of Dad's customers had a Toronado. And I remember it was hard to get parts for it back then. I can't imagine what it's like now. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. Franco, you're older than dirt. Franco, did you see? I missed out on this, right? Franco, did you see? Were you lucky enough in your life? Did you see either the terrifying Toronado or the Hearst Harry Olds run? Like one of my greatest regrets is that I wasn't born like 10 years earlier, so I could have actually seen those things in action. No, not in person. Twin engine Tornadoes. Yeah, there were two of them, Danny Boyd. One of them was called the Hearst Harry Olds, and it was Hearst Corporation, and they put this car together. It was an exhibition car. Actually, it was originally intended to be a funny car, right? And they had two blown nitro burning Olds 425s, one in the back seat. You know, they just took the whole motor and transaxle and stuck it in the back of the car, and then they had the one in the front. So two blown nitro all-wheel motors in this thing. And then they had there was another guy named John Smizer who was a top fuel racer, and he says, you know, well, the funny cars are getting all of the money, so I'm going to build a funny car. So what he did was he built a car called the Terrifying Tornado, and he did the same thing as Hearst did with theirs. There's two blown nitro 425 Olds motors, right? And these things were just over the top. I never got to see one run. I would probably give 2 years off the end of my life to watch one of those things make a run. But I've seen photographs of them where, like, especially the Hearst Harry Olds, not the Hearst Harry Olds, the Terrifying Tornado. There's pictures of these things when that motor hits, right, and it slicks on all four wheels. The front end just goes like this. It would just dance all over the place. And I've seen like motor drive photo sequences of this car making a pass, and starts with the wheels straight, then it hits and they go like this, and then they go like this, and the whole time the cars, you see, it was like 10 frames of the car coming to you, and each frame the wheels were pointing in a different direction. just crazy stuff, crazy stuff. Oh yes, you're right. The Hearst Harry Olds was a Cutlass. Yes. Gold Coast auction. Which rims do you prefer? Mopar Rally rims or Magnum 500s? 69 and older, definitely Magnums. The Rally wheels, they changed very subtle styling things on the cars in 1970 that made the Rally wheels fit the look of the car. Rally wheels don't belong on anything previous to 1970. I think they just look weird. Magnums, on the other hand, look good on everything. So I would say, and I have Magnums on my 73 Roadrunner. So I would say, if I had to pick one of the two as just the universal go-to wheel for a Mopar, would be the Magnum 500. And they're actually Ford rims. They're, you know. And then Wheelie King is right. Slots look good on everything. Painted steelies. You can never go wrong with painted steelies. John Wilburn is saying pistol grips and rallies are 70s things and belong in 70s cars. I agree. My pet peeve is when people start painting pre-70 cars. Forget about the pistol grip in pre-70 cars. But when they start painting the high impact colors, like when you see like a 67 Coronet and it's plum crazy, and it's like, how would you do that for? What's the matter with you? Can you not step back and look at this car and look at its lines and its details and see that plum crazy does not fit the car? You know, it's a whole different animal. Yeah, when you pick a color for a car, right? You gotta remember, like, so like, here's the thing. The designers, you know, the when they design the body of the car, okay, they put all little lines in, they put all little details in, right? And you know, they do the whole clay model thing, okay? And then they select certain colors that work with that body, right? That, you know what I mean? So there's a reason that they didn't have high impact colors in 1968. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have the body, they didn't have the right look for the car to have those high impact colors. James Griffin, hey, you ever rock? Thanks, Loads. Uncle Tony from Thank you, man. Thank you, James. Gold Coast Austin, do you hate New Jersey as much as New York? I hate the Northeast. I have no offense to anybody who lives there, man. You know, I know lots of you guys live there, right? But honestly, once, I'm going to tell you right now, once you escape from the Northeast, right? So, okay, then this is going back, we go back 30 years, okay? 30 years ago, I used to call it the corridor of doom, all right? So it starts at Washington, D.C., and it ends in Boston, and it ends in Boston, okay? The corridor of doom, I-95 from Washington, D.C. through Boston, right? It's just, you go any place in the country, any place else in the country, and you're like, oh, this is so nice. You know, this is cool. This is America. This is good. You hit 95 in Washington, D.C., and you run that 400 or 500 miles up to Boston, and it's literally the corridor of doom. It's just like one stop worse than the next. It's just horrible. You don't really appreciate it. If you live there, you don't really appreciate how bad it is until you start spending major time away from that area. Franco, Tony, I've lived all over, but Jersey is home. I like this, but it's home. It's your home. I get it, right? I get it. Danny Boy, did you see Cletus's short industrial convertible? Yeah, I've seen that car's been kicking around for years. That car was probably done 25 or 30 years ago. I remember the first time I saw that was probably in Carcraft magazine, probably in the middle 1980s. Was the first time I saw that car. But yeah, that's cool that Cletus has got it now. Charlotte Cohen, is Sopranos accurate of Jersey? I never watched the show. I don't know. Okay, you stay south of the Raritan River. I don't go north. Okay, I can see that. Yes. All right. Okay. Within the corridor of doom, there are pockets of okayness. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that every single space in there is bad, but it's just, you start off, Washington D.C. and then Baltimore. You know what I mean? And then Philadelphia, and then you know what I mean? And then it's just like all the way up. It's just like stop after stop after stop. Of like you just don't want to be there. You know. That's where the tolls start. You could drive this entire country. You go one end of this country to another and never see a toll booth. Never even the people. I live in Nashville, Tennessee. These people have never even the locals have never even heard of a toll. if you said to them, hey, you're gonna pay to go down this road over here, they'd be like, keep your freaking road, okay? Seriously, right? But once you enter the corridor of doom, that's all there is tolls. That should tell you everything you need to know. That's everything you need to know. If you live in a place where there are tolls, you're living the wrong life. That's all I can tell you. Good night, Raining Slant 6. Tony, go to Orlando, lots of tolls. Hey, okay, so there are little pockets of areas that are like that. Yes, I know. But think about it, man. What's a toll? I live in Tennessee. What's a toll? It doesn't exist. Gold Coast Ocean, can you get a good stromboli where you live? We have there's Nashville is a foodie town. You can get anything you want, and it's really good. Charlotte, West Virginia still has toll roads 40 years after the highway was paid for. But where are they? They're in that, all of the toll roads there are in the northeast section of it. The northeast section. So you're up there around what's the cities in Pennsylvania? I can't think of the name of it now. Right, actually, right where Carlisle is. Anyway, I didn't know West Virginia had toll roads. Yeah, just up in that corner. Most of all parts of Rust. What's the best barbecue in Nashville? I'm not crazy about Tennessee style barbecue. I'm not crazy about Tennessee. I like Kansas City style barbecue. So I can't. Yeah, we don't have a good barbecue here. Lots of UTG fans at Carlisle. Would I consider having a Mopars for sale section on your page where it No, because I try not to be a Mopar channel. You know, as I've said 1,000 times, right? I'm a Mopar guy, right? But this isn't really supposed to be a Mopar channel. I use Mopars to illustrate concepts, ideas, principles, the same way most channels would use a Chevy or a Ford. So my personal fleet is all Mopar, but this is not supposed to be a Mopar channel. You know what I mean? And I hate that I hate that people refer to us as a Mopar channel, because that's not the point. We're not supposed to be a Mopar channel. Yeah, Mopars are a specialty, but not the exclusive thing that we do here. I like to think of us as a traditional American car culture channel, right? That doesn't necessarily exclude imported things, but we kind of focus on traditional American hot rod muscle car values, right? I think if I had to sum up the channel, I'd say that that's what it is, not a Mopar channel. Go Coast Ocean. Do you like Mercury, Capri, or Mustangs? Well, I'll tell you what. Google Google Tony DeFeo and Mustang and see what comes up. Tony, want to make another 15-minute appearance in Carlisle 2024? Honestly, I love you guys. Yeah, I honestly do, right? But as I've explained many times in the past, right? As I explained many times in the past, I am a neurotic recluse, right? I'm very okay. If I'm in a crowd of strangers, okay, if I'm in a crowd of strangers, I'm the life of the party. I love people. I love talking to people. I love being around people. I love, okay. But if I'm surrounded by people who know who I am, but I don't know who they are, I get really weird and I get really uncomfortable. I become very reclusive. So it's just a quirk of my personality. I can't help it. I can't help it. Bear Rose, do you have any plans to do a just for fun rat rod in the future UTG? Just combine everything into something you drug out of someone's yard art collection. My 67 GT is a rat rod, honestly, right? That's pretty much as close to a rat rod as I want to get. But I am doing that scooter. I'm actually looking for roadkill, just the right roadkill to bondo to the scooter. South Jersey Jim, I would think fame sucks. It's UT. It does and it doesn't. The recognition is awesome, and it's so greatly appreciated. You have no idea. But then again, you cannot just be you. You know what I mean? Like you can't just be in your own head. That's the thing. See, when I go places or I do things, I'm kind of in my own head. Like if I'm in an event or a show or wherever at a track, whatever it happens to be, I'm in my own head, and and all of those conversations, and like just like when I'm in the shop, I'm in my own head. I'm in my own zone, and all of the distractions and conversations and everything else takes me out of that. And I have massive ADD, and I'm like I'm Asperger's. I have autism. I'm autistic. So taking me out of my zone or taking me out of my head really is disorienting. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I have a hard time dealing with people. You know, whereas if I'm in an event where if I'm at a thing, so let's just say I go to see a band play or something. Okay. Now I'm completely out of my. I don't have to be in my head. I could just be there. So it's like let's talk. Let's bullshit. Let's you know what I mean. But if I'm on mission, you know, I'm in the automotive environment, and it's like no, just just leave me in my head. I was like, just leave me in my head. UV's Garage, UT would be interesting to see you build a GM or Ford to throw off the algorithms and see if the subs climb. I would. Somebody's going to bring it to me. No problem. I would love to build. I keep saying I'll do an import. I'll do a Ford. I would love to do like an early Z car or something. But I'm not going to buy anything and add to my already overstuffed assortment, my fleet of cars. They all need so much, and I don't want to sidetrack like that. But if somebody was to bring me and say, "Hey, look here, here's a 71 Z28. Let's do this thing, right?" I'm like, yeah, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Somebody bring me a Fox Mustang, right? Yeah, let's go. No problem. Let's do this thing. But I can't add it in my own because I've already got so much. I got too much. Danny Boyd, you're an antisocial, charismatic leader. Screaming Seaman, UT, I couldn't handle being a public figure. I get really bad anxiety and panic attacks. I can get really irritated if I can't relax for a minute. I've never had like anxiety and panic attacks aren't really in my wiring, but the irritation is the irritation is. Uh, Brian Beeler, let's do a 64 Cyclone 289 4-speed. Oh, they're beautiful. I would love to do that. But bring it to me. Bring it to me. Being a public figure is tough. Screaming Seaman. It's not easy. It's not an easy thing to do. You got to have a really thick skin. You got to have a really thick skin to do this stuff. Doug Norton, we will have a Tony lookalike contest. We will enter the real Tony as a goof and award of second place. Brian Buell, I got one. Hit me up, Tony. Are you immediately in the Nashville area, south of Nashville? Because I can't work with people who are long distance. It doesn't work out. Um, KJ Moore, Uncle Tony, can we have a video on where you see the 60s, 70s car market going? Us young guys need some guidance on whether we should wait to buy or jump in now. KJ Moore, this is something earlier in this live we were talking about. There's a channel that I watch. The guy's name is called the Economic Ninja, and that subject is exactly. I would love to do a collaboration with him talking about the classic car market, the vintage car market, classic car market, and just about that, just about, is this the time to dive into something like this? And for the record, yes, I think that anything you can get a good deal on right now, grab it, grab it. It is an investment. It's just another form of precious metals. Mexican Spec, I've stopped stuttering in my videos. I will take that as a good sign. I wish I could stop. Poor Kathy's got to sit there. And I tell her, just leave it, because I'm a stuttering fool. I start doing this shit, and I always tell her, just leave it, don't worry about it. But she's always in there cleaning up the stutters. She makes me look good. Bush D, so if we see you in public, is it cool to say hey or just walk on by? Depends on what I'm doing, man. If you see me involved in something, just walk by. You know what I mean? Tap me on the shoulder. Good job, Tom. And keep going. It's awesome. And I love you and I appreciate you. You have no idea. But if I'm busy, if I'm doing something, yeah, man. Right? But that's why I don't go on. I mean, really, I don't go on. As a rule, I avoid any place where people may know me. Does that make any sense? In the zone, leave them alone. Jeremy Harrison, UT, any Jeep Cherokee content in the future? You started to, but dropped it. I dropped it because the views weren't there. The views weren't there. That's the thing with this channel, right? With any, we're always throwing out ideas. We're always plugging away, looking for things that are going to get views, that'll grow the channel, that will be popular. And so we'll throw stuff out there. And we threw a few Jeep things out there, and it just went over flat. And this is a business. That's the thing that you guys have to understand, right? Beyond all else, this is a business. This is my job. This is how I make a living. And that's all done through views and CPM. So the longer somebody stays, first you get the clicks, they got to hang out for about 30 seconds. And then the longer they stay through the video, the higher the CPM, the more you get paid. You know what I mean? It cost me $100 grand a year to run this channel. So I got no choice but to go with things that are going to get consistently good views. And the Jeep thing just was not going there. Go Garage. YouTube is a funny kind of animal. You never know what's going to hit, and it takes a lot of work. You are right. Shoehorn Kelly. Hey, Tony, would you waste your time with a Chevrolet 265? Probably not. It just depends. Is it a restoration? If it's a restoration, yeah, it's as good as anything else. For any type of performance use, no. Don't waste your time. Go Garage. UTG. Have you ever done a behind the scenes? We did some goof behind the scenes. We never did a real behind the scenes. Behind the behind the scenes is like literally boring. Like I mean, we live the most mundane life you could possibly live. You talked about building a CJ for your son. Still doing that? No, he doesn't really have the interest in it. And like I said, the interest, it just doesn't get the views. If it doesn't get the views, we can't do anything with it. And that's why through the course of doing this channel, we've thrown a bunch of different things out there. And you have to go by the audience response. Is the audience going to accept this or are they going to reject it? If they reject it, can't take that chance. Every video has to pay for itself. Every video has to bring in money. So you can't handicap yourself. You know what I'm saying? You can't handicap yourself. Have you ever had Minguer Brothers beef jerky? I have not. Franco, one of my favorite YouTube channels is Dumpster Diver. That could actually be good. I've never seen it. I've never heard of that, but I'll check that out. Um, Tony is real, no pretense. Bro, I am as, what you see is what you get. I mean, I am what I am. There's just, you talk to anybody there's lots of people here that know me, personally. I'm the same person doing these videos as I am doing this, as I am at the house. I'm the same person all the time. Um, Nasty Customs, automotive misadventures is what I got going on this channel. Where's Stubby? Stubby has some things going on in his life. So there's a situation with this now. Stubby has some things going on in his life that the build is going to continue. We're going to do the turbocharged slant in that Valiant, but I don't think Stubby's going to be involved in it, and it's going to be a charity build. This is something we're going to talk about. This Saturday night. So we're going to do this turbocharged daily driver Plymouth Valiant as a giveaway fundraiser for one of two different charities. I don't want to talk about it too much right now because I'm still working on this whole plan. But that's what's up with that. You're a walking megaphone of scathing opinion. James Griffith, Tony, ever watch Vice Grip? My attention span is too short. My no, he doesn't have cancer. My attention span is too short. People love those. People love those. The voyeuristic videos, like where you're going along for the ride. You're gonna go pick this car up, and you're gonna do this and drive like the roadkill formula. And I don't have the attention span for that. I'm like, get to the point, get to the point, get to the point. It's like, you know what I mean? When I watch videos, the videos that I watch are like the videos that I do, where it's just like, get to the point, get to the point, get to the point, spit out facts, make action, do, and then go away. I can't, as soon as there's that lull, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, oh no, you lost me. You know what I mean? Like fix it, get going, move, go, get a job done, right? So if Vice Grip's videos were like 8 minutes long, I could probably really enjoy them. But no, you can't. Project Farm is king at getting to the point. I agree. He does a great channel. Yeah, I'm not sure what you guys are talking about there. Clayton, sealed cowl scoop or front opening, which would be the best for the fastest ET? Okay, cowl hoods are kind of foolproof. as long as you don't want to establish front-mounted scoops, you can run into problems with, with boundary layers. I did a whole video called the Scoop on Scoops. You can watch that, and it'll answer every question you have about scoops. Connie, Tony, Uncle Tony's going, that's why I brought you that shirt. Wait, which shirt? Which shirt? I'm having an aneurysm. I'm not sure which shirt you're talking about. Let's see. Tell us about Shane Polito. Shane is an engineer for TCI, and he's going to be here. This okay. Anybody who has, oh wow, we're coming up on a 2-hour mark already. Okay, anybody who has any questions, like you're building a car, combinations, and you want to talk about torque converters, driveline, relationships between camshaft, cylinder head, torque converter, weight, all of that stuff, right? Shane Polito is going to be live with us here. He'll be in this seat right here. Saturday night at 7 o'clock. And he's a guy that you could throw some hardcore combination questions at, and he'll be able to sort you better than I can. So Shane will be here Saturday night, 7 o'clock Central. And I hope as many of you guys can will join us. He also has a channel. He's a Slant 6 guy too. He's not here to talk about Slant 6s, but he's a Slant 6 guy, and he has a channel called Slant Daily Garage, and it's all about daily driver Slant 6 cars. So you might want to check him out. Slant Daily Garage. Unmedicated mechanic annoying at own risk. I haven't seen that. I like when Yanti junkyard crawl. It's all good. All right, guys. I am. Have I ever met Gene Winfield? I did. All I did was shake his hand. He was at a car show here in Lebanon. I guess it was about 2 years ago now. And yeah, all I did was just shake his hand, and it's like, what a legend, what an amazing person. But yeah, I met him once, but that's all it was, just a handshake. Gene has a great head of hair, unlike me. All right. So guys, I'm gonna pull a plug. Like I said, Saturday night, 7 o'clock. Shane Polito is gonna be here. Slant Daily Garage. So you guys go over there. Oh, it's right. He's looking for subscribers to get some No Name Nationals. Go over there. He needs 121 subs. Please hook him up. He's a good guy. Thank you, Alex. Thank you for the super chat. And so everybody contributed super chat. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate it. Everybody contribute your conversation. Our mods, our amazing mods, Ari, John, Fubar, Zero. Thank you, guys. You keep this thing running good. The trolls know to stay away because you guys are on the case. They know this. Remember, everybody deployed. Yes. All right. So, guys, that's it. I can't think of anything else I'm thinking of. Saturday night, 7 o'clock, Shane Polito, and our regular Sunday night show. And that's it. I'm pulling a plug. I can't talk anymore. I'm all talked out. All right. I got to get to Sonic and get a vanilla shake before they close. Good night, everybody.